After a couple busy weekends, it's time for a fill my cup type of Saturday. I was woken up kind of early this morning, but I fell back asleep and got some extra Z's and started my day with some coffee. I started with coffee ice cubes, added some cold brew, and some half and half, so I really kept it simple. And that was actually the last of my cold brew, so it's time to make another batch. When I make a pour over at home using my V60 or Chemex, I use a scale to measure out my beans and the water, but with cold brew, I feel a little more lenient and more loosey-goosey. After the first pour, I stir in the grounds to make sure they all become saturated, and then I do some slightly chaotic circular pours right out of the faucet. Like I said, loosey-goosey. I popped this in the fridge and I'll take it out tomorrow morning. I honestly think you can get away with anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. We're dog sitting this weekend, so that's Kona, and then we have Scraps, our resident pup. Now that I've got my coffee situation figured out, it's time to make some breakfast. I had peanut butter banana toast, and Scraps obviously wanted some, but it was really nice to eat outside and watch the dogs just do their thing. And speaking of Scraps, she's almost a year and a half old, and when she was a puppy, we found out that she is prone to struvite crystals forming in her belly. So she's on a prescription urinary dog food and can't have many normal treats or human food. To make sure that she still has something fun and different every day, we use the wet food version of the prescription dog food to make some frozen treats. As you can see, we have all sorts of vehicles for this: a Kong, a Topple, some lick pads, and a lick bowl. And she loves this way more than the dry food, so it definitely is a treat for her. And she always accompanies me on this journey and gets a little bite. It's kind of like the cheese tax, but with this canned food. So yes, our freezer is mostly taken up by this tray, but it's worth it. Next, I went to the Bookem sale because it just started this weekend and I wanted to check it out. But apparently everybody else kind of had that same idea. This place was packed, and it's my fault for going 30 minutes into opening day, but I was already there, so I was committed. Basically, the concept is people donate books and then they get sorted by category and author, which makes it really easy to shop other than the crowds, and there's a map and everything. I wasn't really looking for anything specific, but I just wanted some new fiction books to read, and checkout took about 30 minutes, but my parents went later in the afternoon and said it only took a couple minutes, so lesson learned. And then I stopped at Caribou, and normally I get cold brew, but I really wanted a coffee cooler, so I got a small one, and then I went to Target. They had a summer Saturday event going on, and so I got a free ice cream cone, so turns out I didn't really need to stop at Caribou, but then I made a free bag charm and stocked up on some coconut water because I love using that in my smoothies. This is the bag charm that I got, and then these are all of the books that I ended up with. Again, I hadn't really heard of any of these, and I didn't even look them up on Goodreads. I just basically read the blurb on the back and thought they looked interesting. These Life Nature Library books are actually really cool, and I got them on my way out in their little free section, so I'm very glad I stopped by that area because not only are they really cool to sift through, but I think they'll also make really great coffee table books, and I actually ended up stacking them on a shelf underneath this plant. And then I added the others to the bookshelf in the living room. Then we walked the dogs and we found this free baby gate that someone was giving away, and it's perfect for when we need to keep the dogs out of the basement for whatever reason. And speaking of the basement, we very recently refinished it, and now that all of the carpet is in, it's time to start placing our furniture. I don't have anything styled for this area yet, so that will be a fun process. We got this bright blue couch for free, so everything else will pretty much be based on that. I'll also do my crafting down here instead of at the kitchen table, so I organized my fabric into the hutch that my uncle made, so it's all ready whenever I need it. It was a little rainy, so it was the perfect time to get all of that organized. Next, I cut and peeled some kiwis to freeze them for smoothies, and then I made some everything but the kitchen sink bars using random cereals that I wanted to finish off, along with almonds, flaxseed, chocolate, peanut butter, and some coconut oil. It stopped raining, so we had dinner outside, and then it was time for our second walk of the day. Got back, I sat on the couch and watched Scraps bully Kona into giving her toys back, which thankfully Kona is just a little sweetheart. And then I have our first Bible study meetup this coming week, so I spent some time doing that lesson, and then we wrapped up the night with a fire and had some s'mores.